What if the life that you are meant to live is waiting for you on the other side of you making a decision that no one else claps for? In today's episode of Her Purpose, I sit down with Nicole Farsalas, the founder of Glow Up Chicago, whose story is not just about building a business from her basement with gift cards and grit, but about becoming the kind of woman who doesn't wait for permission. You'll hear how Nicole went from working in restaurants and dreaming of aesthetics to building a salon that now supports a team, launches products, and is making waves in the beauty industry, all without the cheerleaders that most of us expect will show up. If you've ever wondered whether you're qualified, whether you're too late, or whether you need a supportive spouse, the perfect plan, or a big bank account to start, this episode is for you. So here's the question I want you to hold as we dive in. What if your strength isn't something that you find, but something you become as you step forward, even when no one is clapping? You've been running this salon. Growing up, did you see yourself running a business?
Honestly, yes. I just didn't know what I was going to do. So I worked in hospitality for a long time, and I kind of ran my shifts as my own business. So I kind of turned that into, what I do today. So I think I always had an idea that I was entrepreneurial, but I just didn't know exactly in what.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think everyone should have a service-based job growing up, but how much it teaches you about the better service you provide, the more you can earn. It totally teaches you that.
I agree. Yeah. I always say, with my employees, I'm telling them little things that I learned along the way when I served. And I'm like, I know you guys feel like this probably doesn't make any sense, but even the stuff that I make you do here, like throwing out the garbage or picking up certain things that you're like, why should I need to know this? I'm going to take business classes. You need to still learn discipline. So I think service-based is discipline and truly customer service.
Did you take business classes?
I did not. Yeah, I actually went to school. I took a lot of nursing classes, so totally different.
So you wanted to be a nurse at some point?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be in aesthetics somehow. So I was hoping to go to nursing school and be an injector.
Oh, okay. So when did that change?
So I think it's kind of a crazy story, but I was working at a restaurant. I know it sounds so silly, but someone an older person had an accident in the bathroom, and I remember going in there, and I was we had to get the dishwasher to clean it up because it was so bad. And I thought to myself, I'm like, girl, there is no way, if you can't handle this, you're not gonna be able to be a nurse, just real tough. So I kind of said that to myself because I knew I didn't want to do that bedside, but you have to do that to get to the injections part. I ended up just being okay, maybe I'll just do aesthetics, just aesthetics.
What was it about aesthetics that you were drawn to?
I think to be honest, I always loved makeup and the skin. And I think because everyone else was well, at least just be a nurse because you'll at least have more stability. People that work in beauty don't make any money. It's not a respected job to go to beauty school. So I think I truly always liked that. I just didn't know that it was an actual job that can fund a life.
It's so interesting. So describe the difference between pursuing a path that everyone else thinks you should be pursuing because it's what will make more money versus what you've done, what you've walked out, pursuing a path that feels a lot more in alignment with who you are and is also providing.
So I think when you love something truly, one, it's not work. Two, I think it just flows better, naturally, things just kind of flow better. I will say math and science, the hardest classes for me. So it was a struggle. I was naturally not good at it. And I think I worked at this one place, and I'll never forget this day. I was doing a rolling silverware, and my manager is well, why would you go to school for something you're good at? Go to something you're not. Go to school for something you're not good at. And so that made me do things that I'm not good at, and I sucked at it. So I'm okay, I think this guy's kind of an idiot, no offense. And I'm just gonna throw myself into things that I enjoy and like that I am good at. And then it started just flourishing a little bit easier, less resistance.
So, how did you get introduced to what you're doing now?
So I was waiting to take my state boards because to be an esthetician, you have to be licensed by the state. Well, there's like a long process, like appointment times, whatever. And so my friend that I worked with, she's like, I work at a spray tan salon. We do really well. It's great. So come work for us and learn. So that's what I did. And once I did that, I fell in love with it. And I'm like, screw the waxing, screw the facials. Like, this is something that is like, I don't know, at 15 minutes, you make people feel good. It's not like honestly, like doing Brazilian waxes, that's like a lot of work and like, like in people's spaces. And it's not like the most enjoyable job, kind of stuck in a room. So that's kind of how I got exposed to it all and kind of fell in love with it.
Your salon offers multiple different services, but it started out as just spray tan.
Yeah, so it was just spray tan and just makeup, which is, again, funny because when I moved from Massachusetts, I had to wait to switch over my license to Illinois. So it was my goal to do the waxing and all the other stuff, but then they didn't equivalate. Like, I had to take more classes and do different things. So I ended up, just like focusing on this while I was working on my license here. And then at the same time, I had to stop doing all those other services anyways, because this just like really took off.
Now, you started in the basement, correct, of your home?
Yes. Yep. Started in my basement in Elmhurst.
So when you started, at that point, it was a means to an end to get to the other vision you had as far as the waxing and all of those other things. Or did you see it as something you wanted to offer yourself as a business?
Honestly, I had an idea. I'm like, I always want a storefront. I didn't know where or like in like what we want to do, but I think I did want like more services. Like, I guess I didn't realize how attainable it really was in such a short amount of time.
No, talk about that. What do you mean by that as far as how long it took for you to become profitable?
Well, no, I think I was actually profitable right away. I think I just didn't realize that like once you kind of start this, it kind of like snowballs. Like, you actually become pretty successful and pretty busy if you do like good quality work and have like you do the right things. Like, I had reviews right away. That was something I focused on. And I learned all these little tricks with Google and different things. So I was like, oh yeah, one day I'll own a salon. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know, in 15 years when I'm older. But I'm like, I'm older now. Like, I have the salon. Like, I've been in business for only 6 years and I have a product line. I have this, I have that. And I think when you're first starting out, even in school, you're like, oh, like I would never own a salon, but it would be great if I do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You have to become the person that owns the salon before you own the salon, but you become that person by being that person before you have it.
Yeah, essentially, yes. So it's like fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah. What was the time frame between when you were doing the spray tans in your basement in Elmhurst to opening your first storefront?
2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you opened the storefront, did you have a full team or was it just you?
My storefront, I had probably like 3 to 4 employees.
Okay. And were they employees when you were at your house?
So I went from my house and then COVID happened and then we opened into the salon suite. So once I was in the salon suite, I needed a front desk, even though we didn't have a front desk. It was just a room and then the waiting area. So this young girl, she started working for me as like my front desk, my answering system, my assistant, like ran and walked my dogs for a little bit. So she was like my little first employee. And then I got another spray tan artist with me. And then I started like building a team before I even had the storefront.
Oh, I see. So you have taken on the role of leader. Obviously, any business owner is a leader. Speak to some of the life experiences that led you to know that you were meant to be a leader.
I think just from a young age, I'm a natural born leader. I don't quite believe in zodiacs, but I'm a Sag. They're natural born leaders. I'm like the oldest in my household. again, natural born leader. I think being in sports, and also I was very shy as a kid. So I kind of got picked on actually. So I had to become this like outspoken because I started noticing like I would not nice things would happen to me. And then I'm like, what did I do? And so I had to learn from a young age, like, no, you have to stick up for yourself because no one else is going to. And if you see someone else going through that struggle, you got to stick up for them too. So from a young age, I would see injustice like on the school, like playground, like somewhat like a bully picking on like the new one. And I would be like, no, 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 like we're not doing that. Like we're nice to everyone here. So I think from a young age, I think my own struggles and just like being the oldest in the house and whatever, like it's just in me.
Right. Now, did you still have some sense of imposter syndrome when you started your own business?
I think probably like when people like come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I've heard about your salon." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Like, like at like prominent people or like, like I saw a plastic surgeon for something and he asked me, he's like, "How do you do your social media?" I'm like, "What? Like, you're like really famous and like successful. Like, you're asking me about like social media." You know what I mean? So I feel like times like that when people are like, "Oh, like I really like have heard of you or I admire your work." Or even when I went to the Dolce Glow Summit, like Isabel's like, "Oh, I've heard of you." I'm like, "Oh, really?" Like, "Oh, that's cool."
That's awesome. Uh, were there any books or and mentors in your life that really spoke into you becoming an entrepreneur?
I mean, honestly, I think I know this is so weird, but like I feel like watching my ex, like there's a lot of not good things that have happened with him, but I think watching the dedication from like that corporate world, like the finance corporate world and like attending their summits and their things that like the spouses can attend and watching the intense work and determination and like how they live. I took all that in. I mean, some of it was unhealthy, but I just like did my own twist to it. So kind of watching that and be like, okay, that's kind of overboard, but I can use a lot of like some of these things. So I don't necessarily read a lot of books. I read the Bible. I think maybe some of those stories, like how to overcome things when everything's against you. Um, and then also just like my past experience in work, like working for companies, like reading their manuals, reading the way that they would even train us. So I feel like that, but not necessarily like one book or like an artist or something.
Were there any obstacles that were moments that you questioned whether or not this was the right path?
Yeah. Yeah, all the time. I mean, I think the first betrayal from my like employees or like having vendors or like other businesses I work with and them like kind of like doing not nice things to me or like when we were opening this place, the city was like, "We're not going to pass you for inspection because of your bathroom." And I had to set up a salon in my garage for 1 month. And like it was chaos, like change everything on Google. So I feel like that I'm like, am I like meant for this? Like this is like a lot.
How did
It
you?
was. Like I'm like, oh, this is like normal.
It's all part of business. How did you get through those? Am I meant for this moments?
So honest to God, my work ethic, like there's just something inside of you where you're like, I can't think about anything else. I have clients, they're getting married. We got to make it happen. So those sounds and those voices in your head, you're like, okay, that doesn't really matter when there's 30 people that rely on you and need you or people that you help pay their rent. Like stop feeling bad for yourself. Like you got yourself into this, figure it out. It's basically how I had to go.
The bigger success you have, the bigger problems you have. But it's worth it. Speak to how much it's worth it. What does your life feel like living it out?
So honestly, I feel like I have a lot of freedom. Like, I feel like I don't remember having this much freedom, like when when I didn't work, obviously, but when I work for other people, like even the fact that I can like come on here and say things that I want to say, like I don't have a boss that's like, oh, like you can't say that or you can't act that way or like you can't be vocal about this or whatever. Like I'm in charge. So like it's so freeing that like I want to run my business this way today, or I want to go on vacation, or I want to hold classes here. Like I can do that. You know, I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to wear a certain outfit. Like I can control that. So it's amazing, but also with that comes a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it does. And also, it takes a lot of courage stepping into being that person.
Yeah, I don't think it's okay, year 1 versus year 6. Like did I have the I did I have the nerve that I have now? I didn't. I was like, is this gonna work? Like, can I spend this on this marketing? Can I do this? Like, what if we get a bad review? Like now I'm like, oh yeah, like this, like you just figure it out. It's my, you know.
For the woman that's listening, that's thinking about doing something, how much should she expect to know what the plan is going to look like?
I mean, honestly, I feel like you're never gonna know exactly. I think go with your gut, do things that seem authentic to yourself. Try to quiet out the noise, the negative noise. Positive noise we like, negative no. We don't want any of that. But I think that really like you don't really know the plan. I think it has to like unravel itself. But yeah, I think to be like I want this by this time, that's setting yourself up for failure. So just kind of go with it, you know. Definitely write down your goals, put the right people around you. If you want a partner, find someone that complements the things that you lack. You know, you're not going to know everything. But be receptive. Like this is the biggest learning process.
It's so much more than learning the business. It's learning who you're meant to be in the world, right?
Yeah.
The way you're showing up in the world today is an entirely different Nicole than in 2019, correct?
Yeah, I definitely think like I have more confidence. I feel like I have an authority to say things to people like, hey, you can create your own business. Like before people would be like, okay, what do you know? But it's like, well, I've done it and it's showing and now I can help you, you know? So yeah, I have a lot more confidence than I did in 2019.
What does a woman need to run her own business? I want to clarify, compare and contrast the things that women think they need to run a business compared to what they actually need to run a business.
Okay. So I think one, people probably think you need a lot of money, but you don't. I think people, because I talk to women all the time, I talk to successful people that still don't know some of these things. You don't have to spend your own money in business. That's like number one. Spend like loans or whatever, get lines of credits, get investors, do that. You don't need a lot of people around you to help you and lift you up because I didn't have that. You don't even need investors because I didn't have that. You don't need it. It's nice if you have it. And you don't need to know anything about business, to be honest. I think you need to have a very strong work ethic and a solid mind. Like, be so determined, like, no matter what, if your day sucks, your week sucks, your month sucks, your year sucks, you still wake up and you still do what you got to do. Like, that's truly what has to be. Because probably the first couple years, and I'm in year 6, and things are great, and then things are not. And then they're good, and then they're not. So it's not all going to be perfect. That's one thing. It's never going to be perfect. Just go with it every day.
That's awesome. Such good advice. I want to dive into several things that you just said. When you said that you didn't have anyone cheering for you, what was that like? Did you have people around you actually naysaying you, or did you just have nobody believing in your vision?
Well, I think, one, my partner, my ex-partner, like wasn't dogging me, but wasn't supporting me, you know? once I got to a certain level, they're like, oh, good job. That's great. So like no one totally that's like, that's my wife. Like that's like, yes, like no one really like that, or at least not to me. Um, and then like my family, pretty quiet, like didn't really understand it, still don't understand it. Like they don't know what all this is. Like they don't even understand the gravity of like how I've like financed people's lives, and changed people's like our clients' lives. So definitely in that way. And then naysayers, I think like a lot of people you don't even know. They're like, oh, that name, oh, spray tanning, oh, orange, like you're like, wow. So it's just like little comments, and they're like, oh, that's all you do? Like, okay.
It's amazing how they don't understand that you're creating both an impact for your clients' lives in their special day, their special moment, their special trip, but also speak to what does it feel like to know that you're financing your staff's. You've built a team, you've built a business, you're financing their lives, and you're a part of their journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think I take great responsibility for, and I always have with my staff. One, you're able to pay for your life. That's like a big thing, Two, I'm teaching you things every day. Like I talk to my staff and I tell them, I'm like, I want things done a certain way. And then I explain to them, you guys, I'm not a stickler. I'm teaching you like discipline. I'm teaching you like stuff that you wouldn't learn in school. So like you're going to take this with you to the next job and hopefully change you like in your personal relationships, at home, with your own self, your confidence. So I take great accountability and responsibility for like having that much over other people, especially young people that are figuring out their lives. I think it's really important. I don't see a lot of people leading young girls, I think I didn't really have that, and I would kill to have what I'm doing for these people.
How have you had any of your staff go on to create something that they're passionate about because of the impact that your leadership has had on their beliefs?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Like I feel like for me, I always wish everyone well. Obviously, if you talk to some of the people that I've worked here, they probably are like whatever. But I like to say, I'm like, I gave you a platform and I taught a lot of people a skill they didn't have before. And now whether they like me or not, they are very successful because of me. So I would say there's a lot of people that are now, have their own places, and they have a different opinion about me, but they don't realize what I still did, right? Whether you like it or not, I taught you a lot. And now you're successful from it. And then on top of that, to piggyback that, there's some like I'm doing these certifications, and these girls are like, I'm like pouring into them. And this is kind of like my passion project. Even the young girls that I hired for the front, and I'm teaching them spray tanning while they're in high school and they're going to go to college. And I'm like, you guys, I'm pouring into you. Just take it all in. And some of these girls are starting their own businesses now. And we're like creating this like little family, of support.
That is beautiful. So I'm just curious. I know you've said X a couple times, so he's gone. And the family that did not see your vision, was there a turning point where they all of a sudden caught on and now understand what you've built? Or are they all still not clapping, not cheering for you?
I think some, right? So like for sure, like my dad, he comes and hangs things and fixes the AC and does all the things. Like he doesn't understand beauty, but he's like so proud. He's like, oh, you like, I know you do well. He doesn't understand like for a little bit of time, a lot of people think, obviously strangers usually think like, oh, she either got it from her husband to fund the place or her parents. And I got neither. So my dad knows that my parents didn't help me, but he thought that my ex funded everything. So when during my divorce, I'm like, don't you understand that this is all me? That's when he started realizing like, oh, okay, And then some other people in my family, like obviously I offer a lot of women's services. Like you're a woman, it's offered free to you, like use it, but they don't. And I feel like it's just because they feel some type of way, unfortunately.
How was it to know that your husband was financially extremely successful and yet he didn't support you in starting your own business?
I mean, I always say he has watches that cost more than what it costs to start this business. I actually use gift cards. When we moved into our place, they gave us like $1,500 in gift cards. And I used that to buy my machines and all this stuff. And then I went back to waitressing at a place that he would have lunch and dinner, and I was serving to fund this business. And we were building like a really expensive house down the street. So even the people I worked with were like, what? Like, we're confused. So it was definitely like, I thought that it was normal. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's not normal. And no wonder why I felt it made me feel like I needed to do this more, like prove to everyone, even my own husband, that I can do something. But it does suck. Like, a lot of people have support financially, emotionally. And I always think like I probably could have been higher and had, better sound ideas and better help with finances, like even just helping me like stay on the path, because that was his industry.
Speak to the empowerment of knowing that you were able to create this with next to nothing. And the woman listening that does not have a supportive spouse also, because yes, if you have a supportive spouse, go for it. That's great. Good for you. But there's a lot of women that don't. And speak to the empowerment of you still got this.
Yeah. So I think, honestly, to be honest, and I know I said it's like sucks, but I think it's a blessing. When you have no help, it's just you, yourself, and I, right? Me, myself, and I. So you have your back against the wall and you have to figure it out. So I think that should show anyone that anything's possible. Like, I had all the ingredients, but like no one wanted to share those ingredients with me. So I'm like, all right, I'll just create all this on my own. And I sure did. And now it's even better because I'm like, I don't owe you guys anything, you know?
Yes. How good does that feel? Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's amazing. And it's possible. So you don't have to have all this stuff. Like, it's literally possible.
Yeah. So how much would you say that you started out with financially? You have 1,500 in gift cards to start your business. That was about it.
Yeah, I think so. When I moved, like with my ex, I moved to a couple of states, and I think I had like in my bank account like $7,000, and then probably by the time I moved, maybe like 4,500, and then 1,500 in gift cards.
A lot of people, I think, do think you need a lot of money. You need money to make money, and that is not true. You need creativity. You need ingenuitiveness or ingenuity. You need to be a visionary. If you have the vision, you will source the things that you need to create that vision.
It's very true. It's kind of funny because to reconnect it all, I now live in the same townhomes where I started my business, because we had to sell our house, and he moved away and I stayed to be close to the salon. So it's like, wow, 6 years later, the old townhouse that I used to work in is across the way. And I'm like in the same area walking my one dog. It's like, it's kind of interesting to see, I'm like, wow, so much has happened. And I remember being in that room thinking like, what's going to happen? Like, if I just work hard, like, what's possible, you know?
Yeah. Well, describe like what is a day life now? You have all kinds of things going, projects you're working on. What are your future plans?
So my future plans right now are we're trying to push our one product into like some major retailers. So kind of rebranding, changing the bottles and just like the packaging, the logo, like really changing it up like to the next level. Creating it in a very different way than anyone else has shown, like sunless tanning. So we've kind of been working on that with someone from the Netherlands, which is awesome. And then what else? Expanding. I have some meetings with people about like different partnerships, franchising, figuring out which one's the best for us. And eventually I want to get down to Florida. So in the next couple months, I want to open something in Florida because I'm going to be living there like part-time. So
What is the best advice you've ever received?
honestly, I think just like being a sponge, like just taking everything in, being optimistic, listening, always listening to others, and no one's ever told me this, but I kind of always like say this to people, like no one's ever said, man, I wish I spent more money. Like to me, I'm like, I wish I saved more. So when it comes to like business, and just in life, like I'm always like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Or, I wish I saved more instead spending on stupid things and invested more in my business.
Mhm. Yeah, where you learned about reinvesting back into the business. Part of that, though, I think comes from having a bigger vision, because when you don't have a vision that's so big that causes you to not want to spend money on whatever, then that's what happens. Well, when you catch the bigger vision, wait, I created this. What else could I create? Then you realize I need more resources to create that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I mean, as you grow, you have to start thinking bigger. Like, I guess back to that imposter syndrome, that's one time where I'm like, oh, like I have to like create a pitch deck and like ask like for money and like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the time when you want to grow. You're like, oh, like people would be like, are you a franchise? I'm like, no, you think I'm a franchise? So then I'm like, I want to be one. So like now I'm able to talk about that, and that's what we're working on. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or like getting into big stores. I'm like, wait, it's even possible to do that. So now I'm like, all right, let's figure out how we get like the best people to design for us, the best people to fund us. Like, so that's like how you reinvest, and just kind of thinking on like a larger scale.
But you have to put in the reps. You have to do the foundational, basic business building activities over and over and over before you ever get to that point. And you make mistakes, right?
Yeah, I think one big mistake people do is they get out of aesthetic school, and I think a lot of younger people now, they're like, they see social media, they're like, oh, I just make a bunch of reels and I should be famous and have clients. I even had someone say, oh man, like it's a lot harder getting clients than I thought. She took a class of mine, and then I don't know what she was thinking, but she's like, it's a lot harder than one thinks. I'm like, oh yeah, like I was building my clients for the last however many years. We're year 6, we're still building. It's like, so I think people don't realize like you have to do the foundation before you can do retail or product line or employees. Like, I still do our social media. I've had other people do it, but I'm like, way too expensive. I think we do it the best anyways. I'm sure I'm lacking certain things, but no, I'm doing it, because I want to save for other things.
I want to pick your brain, I guess, a little bit on this. It's so interesting to go from being a person that would never even imagine, like you're talking about owning a franchise and having your products on the shelves in retail stores. Speak to the woman that's listening that can't even fathom that. What would you say to her to get the ball rolling?
Each day, I think a lot of people suffer from this. Like, they don't know where to start.
Mhm.
Start with get your LLC or S corp or whatever you want to do. Start there. Write out each day. Okay, I'm going to start an Instagram today. I'm going to post 5 photos today. I'm going to put myself on Google today. I'm going to inquire about the machines or whatever business. Go to school. Sign up for the real estate class. Whatever is your thing. Do like 5 things a day. Okay, now we're going to do this. I'm going to tell 5 people about my business. I'm going to take 5 spray tan clients today. I'm going to pay for that class. I'm going to do that. Like, slowly just pick away at. You're not going to build Rome in a day. Slowly, brick by brick. Just do the basics and then go from there.
Your vision grows as you grow the business. I know you said that you worked for someone else who had the same type of business model. So how would you encourage someone to, if you think there's a path you'd like to follow, how much would you encourage them to find a mentor that's doing what you would like to do?
It's kind of interesting. So I feel like kind of finding a business model, or even if you don't have a mentor, because I didn't technically have a mentor. I followed another person's business. She wasn't necessarily around. I was kind of following like more of the managers and like seeing what she kind of laid as the foundation. And then unfortunately, when I moved to Chicago, she like kind of told me she does not bless my business because I didn't ask her. So it kind of made me sad because deep down I thought like she was my mentor, and I was like hoping to connect with her, and it really like hurt. I'm like, dang, like I love your business and I love paying homage to, everything you've done, but like you literally are like trying to like not be supportive. So whatever. So I don't necessarily think it will be a person all the time, but it could be their idea and what they've created. And you could find other businesses like for me, like I think waxing in the city. I think European wax. I think the blowout bars, dry bar. I saw that. I'm like, I want to be the spray tanning blow dry bar. Like that's the level I want. So I think that's really important to kind of like see like, okay, it's possible. Like the person that started Dry Bar, people were like, that's the dumbest thing ever. People are going to pay to get their hair washed. Yes. Like she knew something before other people knew. So I feel like she was probably so convicted, like, okay, I want this done. I know other people want this done. And that's how I felt. I saw it. I worked for a place in Boston where these girls were lining up like 5 times booked every 15 minutes, come same time for years on end. I'm like, okay, this is insane. No one would believe this unless you saw it for yourself. So I think it's important to kind of see this vision or see something kind of play out. So you are like convicted, like, okay, it's possible.
Yes, the model, and it's also the problem that you're solving. You see a business model that's successful because of the amount of time and effort that you're investing in each client, but then also you see a need, right, in the marketplace. And I'm so surprised that she didn't give you her blessing when you moved to an entirely different state because you're not competition. How much does that play a part in the way that you want to be a mentor for other people or not be the same?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agreed. I was caught off guard because one, I went to school for this. She was an accountant and she just started this. And so I was like, well, you knew that I was an esthetician and this was like what I went to school for. Also, I'm not competition. I'm in the middle of the country. Like nothing's the same. I mean, the same solution and stuff like that, but it's not proprietary. So I feel like it sucks that happened. But again, learning lesson, everything's a learning lesson. And it kind of geared me up to, hey, can't rely on anyone. You think you have someone to kind of like play things off of or, like have support from, and you don't. So when it was my turn to be a mentor, I take it very seriously. I do these certifications and I'm like very truthful. I'm like, you guys, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, the ways that I've messed up, like forgetting certain things at a client's house or whatever. And I want the best for you because I didn't have that. And it sucks. So I just want to be there for you because I didn't have that.
But you still did it anyways.
Correct.
Were there any moments in like having betrayal, having you said a landlord that wasn't being very helpful? Were there any moments that now you look back and realize I didn't know that I had the strength to get through that, but I always did?
Yeah, I feel like being in a lawsuit and not having support. I mean, even my ex-husband, I was harassed at my job by my old landlord. I had it on camera. Like it was bad. Other clients saw it. And I remember coming home and Max was like, didn't really care. And I'm like, dang, like people are just like really not supportive. And like I am completely on my own. So I feel like it's definitely made me such a strong person because I didn't think I could withstand. I didn't think I would even be able to handle court costs. And now hindsight, it was a prep even for my divorce, because just hitting that from like ground zero, that would have taken me out. Like I was like, I don't understand this process, so I really believe like hindsight, everything kind of gears you slowly. Like the disappointment that I felt when my old boss was not supportive and sent me not nice texts about it. The disappointment when I didn't feel like my family was as supportive, or some of my friends were getting married and they wouldn't even use me for their spray tan and they used someone that was like shitty. And I'm like, but you can use me and I'm the best. Like, okay, that's fine. So it's like these slow little like things and you're like, you just become stronger and stronger and stronger. But I wouldn't be able to handle that huge blow if I didn't have those like little ones,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you even imagine if you never stepped into the woman you've become back in the day when you took that first step?
No, I constantly think about, I'm like, what? Like, I can't even imagine my life not being an entrepreneur or being in business. Like, I take great pride in, like, I know what I'm talking about. I have the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. The reviews, the proof is in the pudding. My clients, like, I've been with them since they got engaged, to weddings, to baby showers. It's like they wouldn't come to me for this long if I wasn't good at what I do.
But you build that foundation. Speak to the woman that's listening, thinking that she is not qualified to become the woman you've become, and speak to the process of how you actually become her.
Yeah. So again, I think you have to be your biggest cheerleader, and anything's possible. If someone else can do it, you can do it. We have the same amount of time in the day. We all have the same amount of bones in our body. We all are just as smart as one another. No one's smarter than the other. The only thing is some people practice more discipline. So anything is possible. Better self-talk, like talk yourself up. You can have bad days, but don't stay in that. So anything is possible. You don't have to have all this stuff. I didn't have all this stuff. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the prettiest. You don't have to have the best idea. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do your best. Figure out what the best in your industry is and study it. Figure out how you can be better.
And put your own spin on it. And I love you shared with this, I think, off camera, that you wanted to incorporate more of your background from when you were waitressing and just that level of customer service. You saw a blueprint and thought, how can I make this even better by incorporating what I know about customer service?
Yes. Yeah, I remember, and he's still there. There's a very famous gentleman that works for this famous steakhouse, and he's an amazing man, and he started from nothing with the company, and he is like in his 70s or possibly 80s, still working, talking with the clients, front people love him. Everyone knows him. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want when people come to go up, they're like, oh, I know the owner. I know the girls. Like, it's like the old school way too, Greek and Italian. This is how we are. So I wanted to bring that love, that passion. Like, okay, you go to the salon sometimes and they're like, yeah, okay, take a seat. Yeah, we'll be with you. Like, there's kind of like an attitude or like a lack of warmth in some of these places. Like, you're just a number. Like, yeah. Okay, calls. All right, go back there. And sure, when you're busy, that can happen at any place. Or when you're training new people, they don't know, how to, maybe they're too shy at the front desk. But my goal is like, I want you to come in and hang out, talk to us all day.
Last question is, what is one thing that you wish people knew better about you?
I think I wish people judged maybe me on their own interaction with me. I think when you are on social media, when you have a business and you have to stick to practices and principles and boundaries, people are like, oh, she's not that nice, or she's crazy, or she's hard to work for, or, she's this, she's that, and the other. But really, everything is for a reason, or, you're not getting the full story, So I feel like that happens a lot, especially women that speak up for things, you're either crazy or you're a lunatic or you need to be quiet,
Yeah. How much do women need to not be quiet in your eyes?
I mean, honestly, the things that I have seen and heard and just of recently, I feel like we are very behind, and I think we have a lot of work to do. And that's why I'm talking. That's why I'm not going to stop talking, because I thought we were better, in a better place, one with each other, So that's why I want to thank you for even having me in this conversation, because I just said to another woman, I said, thank you for speaking my name in a room of opportunity. Because unfortunately, just within ourselves, all women are always trying to take each other down. And I genuinely mean it. And so one, I think we're behind in that. And I think we're behind in like business and being taken seriously by men.
There's enough sunshine. I've said this so many times. There's enough sunshine for all of us. And we can all rise if we don't look at each other as competition and actually as partners in our growth, that we all have something to offer each other. So share a little bit about, I know you just launched your own podcast. So listeners that want to tune in to hear more of your story, what you're looking to create, talk about what it is and what it's called.
Yeah, so I'm still figuring out the name. I think the Globe Journey, I think we're kind of playing around with something like that. But it's basically just giving a platform, one, to like explain like who I am, my history, and focus on like anything is possible. I want to interview other people like lawyers that are female that, work in, because I saw firsthand women are not taken as seriously in the courtroom and they're treated differently. I literally saw firsthand. I know I was treated differently during my, time in court. I want to interview other business owners that, they couldn't get a line of credit because they were very successful, but they were asked like, oh, well, is your husband involved? I mean, that happened to me, like I want to, because I've been pretty open about my, things I've gone through. And then in my DMs are like, oh, same thing. I'm a baker. I'm this, I'm that. And same thing. It's like, let's talk about it. Why am I the only one talking about it? So I want to have different people on and continue to talk about topics that I feel like we can all learn from. And like, whether you're in a career or not, maybe just at home, you're like demanding a little bit more respect from your partner, or like, like have the voice after hearing a couple of different stories, like have the voice to speak up for yourself.
You have to, because like you've said several times, if you don't, no one else will.
Yeah. And the people, someone told me, they're like, open mouths get fed. And that's the way it is in life. I don't know what's going on in your mind. No one does. So you have to say what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I really admire you for being such a strong-willed woman and for being a person that represents change and possibility for so many women around you in your local area, as well as now all over the world. So before we hop off, where can people in your local area come into your salon?
Yeah, so we are across from Oak Brook Mall, 1600 16th Street in Oak Brook. We have a storefront. We offer spray tans, bridal hair and makeup, event hair and makeup, waxing, facials, and full service hair. So you can see us here. And then we're on location as well.
And then what are your handles on Instagram?
We are Glow Up Chicago. So GLOUP Chicago. And then my personal, I don't know, it's the Glow Up Boss with a couple underscores. So we'll have to tag that one.
I have the same on my podcast page. It's so hard to say the underscores. Well, I'm so thankful to have spent the day with you. I look forward to tuning into your podcast. I cannot wait to see the launch, and just thank you for sharing your heart with us. Have an awesome day. Nicole's journey is a reminder that the most powerful transformation doesn't happen after you make it. It happens in the basement, in the breakdowns, and in the in-between. She didn't have a trust fund or a business degree. She had a vision, an unmatched work ethic, and the courage to keep going when it was just her, showing up, building brick by brick. She's proof that you don't have to be born into it, married into it, or mentored through it. You just have to decide you're worthy of more and then act like it. So as we close in today's episode, I'll leave you with this. Where in your life are you still waiting for someone to give you permission, when deep down, you already know you're meant for more? Let Nicole's story be the nudge that you've been needing. And if it inspired you, share it with a friend, tag us on Instagram, and let us know what you're claiming next. Until next time, let no one clip your wings.